Hey, welcome back to the Experience Share. My name is Blake, and today we're diving into our Air, Elite, and Unique tier list. To get you used to our categories here, so we have flexible and powerful. These are cards that can be slotted into almost any Air deck, and you'd be happy with it. You have narrow and powerful, which these cards are really good. They're kind of narrow in what their application would be. Then we have flexible and fine. These are good cards. They can go into a lot of decks. I wouldn't necessarily call them A tier, top tier picks, but they're flexible and go into a lot of different decks. You have narrow and fine, where these cards aren't necessarily bad. There's just not a ton of application for them today, and so we'll see where they go. And then the last tier is just kind of bad cards that I just wouldn't really play right now. It doesn't mean that there's not cards that would come out in the future, but it just means that there's better options out there. All right, so starting off here with Browse. And we're actually going to put this one in the narrow and powerful deck. So this is an incredibly strong card. Being able to look at the top 7, pulling a card out, that's an incredibly powerful effect. This 3 threshold though, like that's a real cost, even though it costs just 1 mana. So if I'm playing Pathfinder, I'm probably not playing this. The only way I'm playing this is if I'm playing a 2-color deck, and if I am, then I'll probably do my best to slot it in, but it's narrow in the decks. If I'm just playing Air, I'm not playing Browse every time. You're not fitting Browse in a 4-color Death Speaker, 3-color Death Speaker. Now, maybe in a Air Earth deck, that's it, that wants to play 6, 8 sites, sure, that's fine. But even if you're only playing 6 sites, the odds of you having all the Air threshold, it's still not great. So really powerful card. It's just kind of narrow in the decks that it goes in. All right, Candlemass Monks here. Really powerful effect. Deathrite, proceed to the end step. I'm going to put this into the narrow and fine category. I thought about putting this one and putting this in the powerful tier, just because being able to end an opponent's turn is incredibly strong. This could stop your opponent from attacking because you can just block with it, and then that just ends the turn. But you need a way to kill it on your opponent's turn. And right now, there's not a lot of quick spells that you can use. Dodge roll's not going to get there. So it's going to be narrow and fine for now. But next one, so Chaos Twister here. This is the first one I actually put in the flexible and powerful tier. There's a really good chance that you're going to kill really anything on the table. If you've ever played with this card, blowing it from 1 feet away, it's kind of like if you were stacking your arm up here and then blowing it off. And I've never blown it off the map like you can accidentally do in TTS. Just know where you're targeting, know what your risk reward is, but sometimes being able to remove a 4 or 5 power minion and then drop it on their avatar, drop it on another minion, it's a really good card. A card that I was overriding for a while, or overlooking for a while, and I think it belongs up here, this flexible and powerful card. Now, I would say if there's better air removal in the future, it's going to come down to flexible and fine. But for now, with air, there's really not a ton of removal outside of grapple shot. And so we're going to put this in that flexible and powerful category. Dream Quest used to be a top tier, flexible, powerful card because you used to be able to put your avatar to sleep. With the new rules, it's really just, I guess it's narrow. You get to search your deck for any card. Maybe if there's more spellcaster synergies, it's so good to tutor for just any card in your deck. So, you know what, we're going to put it in narrow and powerful. You need to be playing a spellcaster's deck. If you're doing that, then maybe there's a chance that you can play it. Maybe that's something I should brew around with, as a spellcaster's deck here. All right, our East-West Dragon. We got a 5/4 that can move freely sideways. Oh, this is tough. Because I'm gonna put it in the fine category. It's close to wanting to be in this kind of bad. It's flexible in the decks that it can go in, but there's just better options. There's way better options that you can play that have a stronger effect. Now, maybe with the Dragon set that could be coming out later into 2024, Maybe that is a way that it can boost up the strength of this East-West Dragon, but for now, I'd just say it's kind of fine. Grandmaster Wizard, on the other hand, is incredibly powerful. Stronger than Chaos Twister for sure. It has the Genesis, draw 3 spells. In Magic, you got to think of this like drawing 7 cards, because that's how many cards you start with in your hand is 3. And so you're really drawing your entire hand again. Incredibly strong card with Death Speaker. This can sometimes get you up to 6, 9 cards if you're on a Geistwood. Really strong, powerful effect here. All right, Grim Reaper. This is a pretty powerful card. I don't play it all the time, and because it's a 2/1, it probably goes in this flexible and fine tier. Honestly, I'm not gonna play it in every deck. I might sideboard it because if you're going against a Death Speaker and you can get maybe a grapple shot and 2 an attack, you can remove quite a few minions out of an opponent's deck that are really key to their success in trying to win. I was playing against somebody the other day, and they use Whirling Blades, Grim Reaper, taking out 4 minions out of my deck, and it was really challenging to be able to come back from. And so it's probably in this flexible and fine tier. Highland Falconer, it's going to join Reaper, better than Grim Reaper, but it can search out a 2/2 bats. It can search out the 1 power beetle that can has Deathrite, deal 3 damage. Those are fine. I'm not looking to. Yes, I'm so excited. I get to play Highland Falconer in my deck. It's good, right? Because you get to. It's a 2/3, and 2/3 in an aggressive shell is good. I think it's fine. Maybe in an aggressive shell, it moves up to this more powerful tier. But for now, we're gonna leave it in this fine category. All right, Highland Princess. Oh, with how good Philosopher's Stone is, I think I have to put it better than Grandmaster Wizard. I'd rather see in the early game, definitely rather see a Princess. Late game, obviously, Grandmaster Wizard is better. Being able to go get any of your cores, being able to go get a Philosopher's Stone, incredibly strong. And then you also have the mechanism that allows you to be able to control random results. There's certain decks that really want that effect too. Highland Princess, just a flexible, powerful card. All right, Hounds. Hounds is a very flexible card. It's not going to quite make it on my powerful tier here. We're going to put it in the fine and flexible. It's a 5/4. It has, you know, infinite words, infinite key abilities down under there. It's a strong card. I'm not putting it in every deck. If I'm looking for an extra minion, sure, I'll throw in this 5/4. But that's part of Air is that there's minions in the power are slightly understated, but they get some extra key abilities that not every other minion has. Good card. I wouldn't fault you for playing it, but I'm not going to put it even close to what these 3 cards are up here. Lord of the Void. This is kind of a fun card, and maybe if you can hide it away in a void. The piece of removal, I'm going to put it in narrow and fine. And if you're not sure what Lord of the Void does, so Lord of the Void, it's a 9 cost, 3 air threshold, 0 power. So it dies to a sneeze. It has Void Walk, but at the end of your turn, Lord of the Void may banish an adjacent site unless there's an avatar there. So when you're banishing a site, not only are you taking away, ramping resources away from your opponent, but you're also getting rid of all the minions that are there as well. It's very narrow, and the applications to be good for. And honestly, the more I read it, I feel like it almost gives him that kind of bad tier. We're gonna leave it here for now. Nightmare is 7 costs, 6 power at the end of your turn. For each enemy here, you may push them to an adjacent location or void. Oh man, this is honestly, maybe I should move Lord of the Void down. This card is just kind of bad. It's a 7/6. You can get better stats 4/6, and it has to be on the site, pushing them away. It's at the end of your turn. You're just moving them here into an adjacent location. Yeah, I'm not playing this one soon. It seems like it'd be an awesome cube card. So if you're a cube player, I think this would be a fun one to slide in, but it's not going to be one that I pick up and play in a competitive deck. All right, Nimbus Djinn. We're gonna go ahead and put up here this flexible and you know what? We're gonna put it in narrow and powerful. It's narrow in the sense that it's definitely a powerful card, but it's narrow because you need to have a lot of cards in hand to be able to discard, to be able to use its effect. But if you can get this down early, I've been playing around with the Spirits deck and Evil Presence, and it's been able to make some really neat combos, rushing down a Nimbus Djinn, discarding some cards, and swinging in for a good chunk of damage. The fact that you don't have to tap to discard the cards is really what gives us a huge advantage here. Powerful card, kind of narrow in the effect that it has in the decks that want to play it, but really good. All right. Occult Ritual, it's going to go in this narrow and fine category. This kind of falls in the same line as Dream Quest, to where your avatar isn't going to be a spellcaster anymore, and it's not going to trigger this. You also need so many minions. So it's gain 2 for each allied spellcaster here. You need a lot of sites to be able to do to gain all that mana. And then what are you going to do with all that mana? Let's say you generate 8 mana. What, you just gonna play Grandmaster Wizard, or are you gonna play like a Lord of the Void? What are you doing here that makes it worth you going down a card to play? There could be a combo deck in the future, and if there is, it'll be maybe powerful and fine, or narrow and powerful. But for now, it's just kind of fine. Puppet Master, poor Puppet Master. I would say it got a buff because you no longer have summoning sickness when you take control of minions, but you can only take control of tap minions. So it's not going to quite do the job here. It's just kind of a bad card. 6 power, or 6 cost 1 power. Not really going to do the job. Another potential combo card in the future is right here, the Reoccurring Spectre. We're going to put this in the narrow and fine category, and it's, if there's a reoccurring theme, it's nice to be able to just always have something to do, but you only have 1 power out of it. If there's some sort of self-sacrifice deck that comes out in the future, it's going to be good in there. There's not a ton of applications for when you would want to use the Spectre, and you'd want to pay 2 to have this 1 power. It's not the strongest card. Maybe it's kind of bad, but we'll leave it in this narrow and fine tier for now. Riddle Sphinx, Airborne. It has the Genesis ability. Look at your topmost spell. You may put it on the bottom of your deck. Then your opponent may exchange your top and bottommost spells. Draw a card. So you can play a little bit of mind games here, or if you can look at this, put it on the bottom, and your opponent's like, oh yeah, he definitely wants that one. Puts it back on top, and you get to draw it. But then at the same time, if you put it on the bottom, your opponent's like, that's fine, draw the card. And in that case, well, it's paying 4 to draw a card, or sorry, it's so it's a 6/4. You can draw a card with an Apprentice Wizard. That's a 3 cost. So really, what you're paying is for a 3/3. A 3/3 with Airborne, and that's on rate for an uncommon. And this is kind of a bad card. It's probably one of the better bad cards, but it's not a card that I'm going to jump in and play. I'd rather just play Apprentice Wizards. Alright. Sky Baron. Oh man, this is a favorite of mine here. It's a 6 power, 6 cost, Airborne. All other Airborne, or all other minions lose Airborne. I'm not putting this in every deck, but there's not a lot that can deal. I can just get buried. It's probably just flexible and fine. Better than Hounds. I think this card's a bit of a sleeper. I think more people should be playing it. It's big. It stops a lot of minions. There's not a lot of things bigger than 7, and so they have to use a Bury, a Chaos Twister, something on there to remove it. It's definitely a threat that you need to answer right away. 3 attacks from it, and you're taking 18 damage just in 2 swings, a grapple shot and an attack. That's 12 over half your opponent's life. Really, really strong here. Ultimate Horror. I'm hoping that there's more Voidwalk creatures that continue to come out. Until then, it's just going to be this narrow and fine. I'll probably put it below Occult Ritual. Um, you can get a whole bunch of Void Walkers back. It's great. There's just not a ton that you really want to get back right now. And so it costs 8. You're only getting 6 power out of it. It's a unique, and so you can't build really a deck around it. It's just kind of fine. Unlikely Alliance, draw a card for each rarity among your allied minions. This is another one. It's like you can pay 3, you can draw a card. I would say this probably normally draws you 2. Maybe this is in that kind of Occult Ritual section of like if there's a combo deck you want to draw, but you're spending a card to draw the card. You don't get anything behind. It's it's fine, I guess. So it'll be in that narrow and fine category. Then we're gonna have the right here, Viral Revenant, and it has Void Walk. Pay 1 to gain 1 power this turn. It's a fine card. It can be a mana sink for you in the late game, but even then, though, it's looking like 4 mana, and so it's 2 power or 2 costs for 1. You pay 4, you get to deal 4 damage. It's fine. You're not losing a card as Void Walk. Maybe you can get some early pressure on with it. I think it's a fine card, but it's going to be an aggressive shell, kind of similar to Falconer, maybe when you would want something like this in. Alright, Witherwing Hero. This is going to be a pretty powerful card. I'm going to put this in the narrow and powerful tier. It has the effect Airborne, and then whenever a weaker allied minion is attacked, you may return it to its owner's hand. So it can be attacked, you return it to your hand. Oh gosh, even then, I thought it was when a weaker ally here is attacked, they have to attack it directly for you to bring it back. Man, that's actually, maybe it does go into the fine category. I thought it was just whenever it was attacked or being attacked, but it needs to be declared, so it's not even, I can't block and get it returned like I thought it could. It's a 4/4, and so I'm gonna put that better than the dragon here, but I wouldn't say it's as good as some of these others here. 4/4 is a pretty decent stat, but it has airborne. Yeah, there's just not too often with the effects, so you're really just playing a 4/4 with airborne. I think it's fine. I think it's flexible in the decks that it can go in. The airship here has airborne movement +2, may move any number of allied minions. This would be kind of cool to pick somebody up and then drop them all off. I think this is a fun cube card. So we're going to put it down here in this narrow and fine category to be able to pick up all your minions. That could be kind of fun, or just pick everybody up on a big old blimp and drop them off on top of an avatar and they just go in and attack. It's movement +2, it's a 4/3. But then you're just setting yourself up to get earthquaked. But that is gonna do it for our air tier list here. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Why is Chaos Twister a bad card in your mind? I clearly think it's a strong card. How would you play Chaos Twister in a competitive tournament? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye.